Folks, welcome back to another episode of Mayhem in the Midsouth. Episode today, Red Carpet Fibers, Part 2. It's November 6, 1984. Remains of a female were discovered near Morris Bridge Road, Pasco County, and it was just north of the Hillsborough County line. Now, all that was left was the bones of the victim. Now, they were scattered over a fairly large area. However, they did recover 2 ligatures. One was still attached to an arm bone. They also found some clothing and jewelry laying nearby that they felt belonged to the victim. They also recovered some human hair. Now, Pasco County, they holler up at Hillsborough. The 2 agencies get together and they're talking about whether it may be related to the homicides they're working. Now, they identify the victim as Virginia Lee Johnson, 18-year-old female white. Now, they know she worked the area around North Nebraska Avenue there, which would have obviously been in Hillsborough County there in Tampa. Now, they sent the evidence they had to the FBI. Now, there wasn't a whole lot they could do with anything, but they did recover 1 single carpet fiber that was still attached to the bones. Now, later on, after they took the suspect into custody, they would recover some of the victim's hair in the suspect vehicle. November 24th, 1984, nude body of a female white was found on an incline off North Orient Road. Now, that was in the city limits of Tampa. So now we've got 3 jurisdictions working homicides related to the same killer. Now, they figured she'd been laying there for less than 24 hours. Her clothing was found nearby. They recovered tire impressions next to the roadway, and there was a piece of wood that had a tire impression on it. And they're figuring the killer pulled over to the side of the road, got out, got the body out of the car, drug it to the side of the incline, and dumped her down the hill. Now, there were ligature marks on both wrists and on the arms. However, they didn't find the ligatures. Now, this victim was identified as Kim Swan. Now, she'd last been seen on November 11th, 1984. Now, Tampa police, they did the right thing, thank goodness. While they're working this scene, they called Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. They said, y'all might want to come over here, which this is just really outstanding work between these jurisdictions. Now, the evidence was sent to the FBI, and they were able to get some similarities between the tire impressions from 2 of the other scenes, and they found red carpet fibers on the victim's clothing. And later on, they would find hair in the suspect's car that would match the victim. Now, the 3 jurisdictions, they're working together, but at the time being, they're going to just work separate, but they're going to keep in touch with each other. They don't want to pull together a task force just yet. Now, Tampa police, they're sex crimes investigators. They start working a kidnapping and rape of a 17-year-old. And this was called the big break in the case. Now, this female, on November 3rd, 1984, she was leaving work. She worked at a donut shop there in northern Tampa when she was abducted at gunpoint. Now, she was taken to an apartment. She was raped over the next 26 hours. But now she was able to build up a rapport with the kidnapper, and he released her. He took her back into town and dropped her off. Now, Tampa police, they send the rape evidence off to the FBI. The FBI calls back and says, well, we found the same red fibers on the victim's clothing. So now everybody realizes, okay, this is our killer here. He's let somebody live. So now they form up their task force. The victim, the McVeigh girl, she was able to see some things from underneath her blindfold. She said when the suspect was taking her back to drop her off in town, that the suspect had stopped at a 24-hour teller machine and gotten some money. And she said it was somewhere around 3 a.m. She said the suspect's vehicle was red with red interior and red carpet and had the word Magnum attached to the dash. She said when they got on the interstate, she was able to see that there was a Howard Johnson's motel right there. So now the officers, they go up to North Tampa and they start checking the area. Now they're able to narrow their search down. They know that only a 1978 Dodge Magnum would have the word Magnum attached to the dash. No other year model. Now somebody from the task force, they fly out to the state capitol and they get a list of every Dodge Magnum registered in Hillsborough County. And also they pull bank records. They're wanting to see who might have been in a 24-hour teller machine close to 3 a.m. or out cruising the area. They stop a Dodge Magnum. Now luckily the investigators had stopped this individual who turned out to be the suspect. They weren't dumb enough to tell him, hey, we're out here looking for a serial killer driving a car just like yours, as some police are known to do. They lied to him, said, oh, we're looking for a robbery suspect or a hit-and-run suspect. They told him a fib. So they were able to get his picture, get information about him and his car. They filled out a field interrogation report, and they let him go. So now they take that name and they start looking at it in comparison to the bank records for ATM machines, and sure enough, they get a hit. He withdrew money around 3 a.m. So now they're going to get a arrest warrant for the suspect and a search warrant for his apartment. Now they'd been watching this suspect, his apartment, his car, him. Now, once that arrest warrant's been signed, investigators call the other part of the task force that's watching the suspect, and they say, okay, the warrant's been signed, go on and get him. Now, at that particular time, the suspect was in a movie theater. So when he comes out from the movies, they take him down in the parking lot. And they take him down to the pokey, take his car to the tunnel to process it, and they go and they hit the apartment. So they start the questioning of the suspect, and they start with the rape. Not only is the rape a strong case, but also it's something that the suspect's been arrested for in his past. So they're figuring he won't be scared. Well, after they throw all the evidence on him, he rolls over and confesses to that rape. And that just strengthens the cases they've got against him for the murder. So now while they're questioning him, they're looking at that vehicle he was driving, his Magnum. Sure enough, the vehicle's got a Vogue tire and a Goodyear Viva tire. And guess what? The white wall is inverted. Exactly how the tire expert said it would be. They get samples of the carpet. They send it off to the FBI. And it comes back a match. So now they got a match between the fibers in the car and the fibers found on all these victims. Now by the time all of this has happened, the suspect's done rolled over. He's done confessed to the 9 homicides. He gave the investigators a brief description of each homicide. He marked down where he had put the victims, what location. Now, while they're getting these confessions, they ask him, they say, hey, we got this girl, Vicki Elliott, 21-year-old. She's been missing since September. Do you know anything about her? And he goes, yeah, I killed her. And he draws them a little map on where he put her body. Now, Miss Elliott, she had been walking to work. She worked a midnight shift at the Ramada Inn. So the police were able to find her body from the map that the suspect had drawn. So they found her skeletal remains, and they positively identified her through dental records. And they found red carpet fibers on the bones and in that area of the body. Now, there is one case, he didn't confess to it, and he wasn't charged with it, but it was a female named Artis Wick. Now, she was known to walk the streets, and they believe on March 28, 1984, which would make her the first victim, she was snatched off the street. She was later found dead. Cause of death was strangulation. Now, it would be 8 months before they found Miss Wick's body. Now, 35 years later, suspect has pled guilty and gotten some life no parole sentences, but now he did get one death penalty sentence. And in May of 2019, suspect was executed by lethal injection.